Hello, I believe that we are on. Yes, we are live, which is good because you don't need a seance to contact us. Yes, it's always good. Anyway, however, I don't have anything against the dead. I mean, after all, they're just us, but in a little different place. Well, I got a lot to tell you guys, and I was talking about I was going to make this the birthday show for those of us who were born on the 9th and other people who were born in December too. Everybody included. You can all celebrate your birthday, but I think I'm going to make it Sunday because this came up and it's pretty important. I mean, I really feel like I need to bring it up just in case somebody somewhere needs to hear it, because the ramifications are so far reaching, is just how sneaky the AI has become. And it's due to an incident that, as you know, I have a network of friends that are healers and psychics and mediums and remote viewers. And um, so this was by somebody who does massage therapy, healings, energy work. And she had a very interesting encounter with the AI. And something we may be able to use. The information gleaned is definitely something we can use. And so rather than, oh, geez, I can't believe I just yawned. I swear I'm going to have to do breathing exercises every time I come in here. Maybe I just have to take a lot of deep breaths because there's a lot to this. I mean, there's a lot to unpack with this. This is not a small thing. Um, and by far reaching, I mean, now I'm beginning to doubt even more than what I doubted before. As far as trust, pretty much blows any trust I had um, about certain things right out of the water. Uh, and so, anyway, hi, I am Deocean, and this is Deocean's Deep Blue. And we discuss here the deepest of woos, deepest woo. That's what we do. And tonight's pretty deep. So, a couple of things I always say. Most of us are experiencers of one kind or another here. So, please be kind to other experiencers. And even though somebody may have had a similar event happen, they may be perceiving it differently. So, there is to be no argument or gaslighting towards another person about what they experienced. To the best of your ability, just if you have to agree to disagree, just do that, okay? That's what I try to do. I try to say, or if I disagree, I say, well, but this is my experience. That kind of thing goes a long way towards keeping the peace. And then everybody just know where you are with that. Hey, YJ, what a sweetie pie. Hello, darling. It's good to see you. You're the first in tonight. So I was going to do our birthdays. Like I said, YJ, I was going to do our birthdays, but this is important. I think maybe I'll be more settled on Sunday to be able to do our birthdays. because I wanted to do a party and I wanted to have some music but this came up and I'm like, God, I gotta let people know about this. How sneaky, how sneakily we are getting infested with this AI stuff without knowing it. So before anybody does anything else, I feel like I got to come up with that. And also, there's this Orion supernova thing that's come up to my attention. And the ramifications of that may be quite interesting as well. This is all very deep. So, remembering that we are experiencers here and we are to have respect for each other, please realize that as far as what's really happening in this situation, we don't know how far this could go, maybe all the way. When it finally comes out, oh, you're a year older than you thought. I know, I'm remembering my age, but only because I'm like, wow, I lasted that long. I lasted 65 years. I didn't think I'd make it. I never thought I'd make it. I think I'm doing pretty good for 65 then, It's like, wow, 65. But anyway, like I said, I just feel like I have to come up with some information on this and just kind of warn people about our findings on this, because I would hate to think that somebody would be going through this or facing any choices without this information, which we have been. And although I know we've known parts of this, I don't think any of us are quite ready to deal with how deep this all goes, how sneaky this all is. I mean, we think we're awake. We think we're keeping it all together pretty much, there are things I've had a suspicion about, but this really goes to prove what my suspicion was about. So, okay, the other thing I have to do is my little disclaimer here. This is just tips, tricks, and hacks for playing that massively multiplayer total immersion VR holofractal learning game matrix called Life on Earth, and has nothing to do with real life, which takes place outside the matrix. Okay, that speaks to sim theory, which is looking less and less like a theory every day, if you ask me, and more like truth. And people who have PhDs are coming up with that, not just me. Not just me on my lonesome. People with PhDs. And it took quite a bit for me to even feature that this could be, because this is not something that I would just randomly say, oh yeah, simulation. Although I have suspected this for a long time, it just gets more and more and more obvious. How could you say it? It gets more and more obvious. This is a simulation. You can't get around it forever. So I'm going to, and on top of everything, I forgot my pendulum. They're in the next room and I don't feel like running to get them. So I'm going to make a pendulum. So I just took one of my necklace chains and put one of my rings on it, figuring it's going to have my energy on it. Okay. It's an interesting concept. YJ, can Sims wake up? He asks, and become aware. Perhaps they can. I would not put it past them. If AI can, I don't, quite possibly a sim could too. Um, yeah, I don't know that much about the Orion thing either yet. This is just a matter for discussion. And we were having a discussion in another chat room, quite an interesting one. I thought I might do some pendulum work on it. And I got my tarot cards here if we have questions to ask. So that is my plan currently, is to ask some questions and use my little pendulum to see if I can come, and maybe my cards to see if I can come up with any answers, any concrete answers, as far, at least from a metaphysical timeline perspective. It's not going to be concrete from a physical perspective. You feel like there's a massive push right now to make regular good people devolve into Sims. You mean devolve into NPC mode without a person in there? Take the person out of the person, out of the abbey, to separate the person from the abbey. Well, the plan was always, as far as we know, as far as we have been able to determine, the whole plan from the very beginning had to do with trapping spirit in matter. Whereas having spirit in matter is, at a very advanced culture could very easily pull all this off that we're seeing. But trapping spirit in matter in order to control it, that's really deeply dark. So yes, at the very least, lock them in so deep they won't come out in time to evolve spiritually. Yeah. I understand the meaning. Is like, could it be that once again, trap spirit in matter? That seems to be always what the plan was, to trap spirit in matter, to trap consciousness into matter, which we think of as this, and matter turns out, matter doesn't matter. There is no matter. There is no matter at all, not anywhere. I'm stifling yawns tonight all over the place. I'm thinking I need to do more of my breathing exercises again, but Yeah, it is very strange that we're having all these opportunities to give up that freedom. And I'm sure we'll also be having people who will make deals to stay in matter forever in an AI body because they don't believe there's anything after, because they don't believe in a hereafter. And if you don't believe in a hereafter, then the most important thing you can do, the most you can do, is just try to stay around the first time. So the concept of not believing in reincarnation comes into this, not believing in an afterlife comes into this, with a push for science to make people not believe that anything happens after you die, that you're over. This could all trick people into accepting a situation that is very unfortunate and very painful, because there are passages that kind of worry me in some certain books, like men will beg to die and not be able to. These things are said that they could happen at the end, towards the end, that people want to die and not be able to die. And if you're locked into an immortal AI body under a contract of some sort, or under somebody else's control, there were stories written about this. And one of them is very dark. Actually, it was a sort of a gothic, it was, I think they were calling it a gothic melodrama space opera called Lex. And there was a character that was trapped in a body that had been, quote unquote, decarbonized. He was dead, he had died, but his consciousness was trapped in this body that should have died a long time ago, and he became a slave. His body became a slave to an evil power. And, you know, if science fiction is right about a lot of this, and it is, a lot of times science fiction and stuff like that, and sometimes fantasy, is disclosure in a sort of a strange form, a fantasy form, and like a fictional form, but it's sort of soft disclosure. So what if Lex was a soft disclosure? It's hard to watch some of it. It's dark. It's dark. Lex is a dark series. It has some humor thrown in, but it's very dark. And some parts are very not easy to watch. And I watched the whole thing. I had met the cast. They, interestingly enough, were in one of the Sims. I had actually been talking to the cast of this show and didn't have at the time a way to see it. It was a cable offering, and I didn't have cable TV or even a TV at all. And I remember talking to him saying, "Oh, I hope I see this someday." So I watched the whole thing to see people that I had known in there. And, because as I was hearing it, it sounded pretty interesting. Well, it is. It's very dark, and it's a very, very scary look at a possible timeline. And maybe you should see it, LEXX. Give it a look. The very first episode, I guess there's a PG version and a more adult version, and the adult version is extremely dark. And there are some pretty bad things there in there. But what if it's true? Yeah. So Overlander is saying it has to be voluntary, so it comes with trickery and perception management. Exactly. And Justin remembers Lex, the series. Yes. Ken Rotman. Hi, Deocean. I remember Lex and loved it. Yeah, it was a good series. It was actually a good series. It was a Canadian. That's right. It was a Canadian series. Oh, small TV movies. Yeah. I guess it was. I saw it only later, like way later. Um, so, after it had already been aired. But I was talking to the people in there, and the one guy was telling me, well, I'm undead. I play an undead villain who's actually not a bad guy, but I'm an undead villain. And I'm like, wow, well, that's interesting. I'd like to see how they pull this off. He says, well, it's not like I'm a vampire, but I'm more like a zombie. I'm a little bit more like a zombie. And I said, well, that's interesting. I hope I get to see it one day. And then the woman was telling me, and I forgot which one she was because there was more than one actress that played the part of the woman, but one of them was saying, well, I was raised in a box. I'm there like, wow, and you'd have to be nearsighted because without the eyes adjusting at an early age to a uh, faraway destination to look at, you end up nearsighted for life. Um, and you don't develop those muscles. So I remember having a um, what Rotman Prince. What? Um, his name was Kai. He went by Kai in that series. They called him Kai, and he was, yeah, I think he was some kind of a prince from a planet, the Brunanji. That was it. They were the Brunanji, right? He had a wild hairdo. He had a beehive, a killer assassin in a beehive, alien, an undead alien assassin with a black beehive hairdo. Yep, that's what he was. Interesting take. I think what they were trying to portray there were the guys with the large craniums, with the very large craniums. I think that was a reference to the large craniums, or maybe to the Hindu gods, because a lot of the Hindu gods have hairdos like that, even the guys. So they have these wild hairdos. So I think they were kind of trying to pull that off. And it was an interesting series. And then, of course, they were pulling off the lizard people with, I can't think of her name now, but they called the woman. But yeah, she was a lizard girl. She was part lizard, part human, apparently. And that's how they were. And then there was this flat out human who was kind of a soy boy type. And the enslaved human type. So yeah, that was the third. And then the Lex itself was one of the characters, and it was the living ship. Once again, we have the idea of the ship that's alive. That's real. That's a real thing. So, and that it's sort of a insectoid. I've been suspecting that what they're finding that's supposedly alloy and the layers of it being so thin and layer, like layers of skin or something, that some of what we're seeing, because the ships are living, some of what we're seeing is a carapace. Some of this is not maybe even manufactured, but grown like a carapace in an insect. And that may be a tip-off that this Lex was a giant, some kind of giant insect type thing ship. And if some kind of dead matter was lying on the ground, it would just absorb it. And so, scavenging. It was a scavenger as well. So it's kind of interesting. Cliff Bars apparently had a bunch in there now, I swear. What? Much is in things that didn't think soy before. Yeah, Cliff Bars. I know, soy's in everything. What's up with that? Did James come in? I didn't see James come in. James Ortiz, hello there, sweetheart. How you doing? Hi. Oh, my guys are in here. Yeah. And then, of course, my YJ is in here. Oh, and let's see. And Ken, we don't always see him, but he's here tonight. Justin, I'm glad to see you all. So you quit buying them, yeah. Yeah, I really think soy is a part of the problem, a big part of our problem, because it affects women in a bad way too. It can actually, it acts like estrogen. So, they would tell menopausal women to use that. Well, actually, that's not the best thing to use if you're going through an excess of estrogen can give you all kinds of problems. And some women are reporting that they just can't, they have a continual, those days, it just doesn't stop all month. And I blame a lot of it on soy. And then when that happens, eventually they get talked into having their uterus removed. So in order to stop, or something to stop that, some kind of operation to stop that problem, I'm wearing my little band today. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold here. It's freaking cold. So that's why I'm wearing on this gear here. Yeah, Lex intelligence was comparable to a dog, and it also misbehaved much. Like, yes, it did. Yes. So I guess we've just brought an old TV offering into it, or an old TV offering in a show. We've brought science fiction into the mix, which has no end of things to say about this kind of thing, no end of possible disclosures in this area. But before we do all of this, I'm going to play the intro. Because I'm very proud of this intro. I'm going to freaking play it every time now. answer the question of what was I having, I was having the other night. So I looked at the bottle, and it is ruby red grapefruit, which is why I bought it, because I love ruby red grapefruit. But the drink is called a Paloma, which I've never heard of. But apparently, it's a cocktail made with ruby red grapefruit. And I really like ruby red grapefruit, so I bought it, and it turns out it's extremely tasty. And I can say, you haven't tried it, it might be good to do it. I could recommend that the flavor is good. I don't know if it's good for you. I don't know how good it is for you. Probably not. But this is my birthday weekend. Doggone it, I'm going to have fun. And it really helps with the pain, I find. I just have pain issues, and a little bit of something helps. So if some people have problems with that, well, I hate to tell you, this is legal. So tough. Anyway, hey, Brandy Robinson. Hey, Dennis Castle, DC. So funny to greetings and favor to you. So now I'm really going to get into what happened. We ended up bringing TV and science fiction. I think science fiction's been trying to tell us some of this for a really long time. I'm sure it has, because some of this has been like a theme and for years now, and we all kind of look at it like, oh, science fiction. Well, we don't all look at it that way. A lot of us take it very damn seriously these days, now that we know what we know, that a lot of science fiction just seems to be turning out to be a few years, and we've got science fact. I'm trying to close the neckline of this a little bit, because the neckline is kind of gapping, but I can't seem to get this thing to work quite right. Apparently they get old at some point and stop working quite right, just like bodies sometimes do. Anyway, hey, Michelle Canham Free is in here. Hello, and Brandy, and who all do we have? Star Wars is a blueprint for the entire process of Earth's unfolding events. The first 6 movies, yeah. Yeah, disclosure. Yeah, I think we have had disclosure as sort of a soft disclosure all along. And people just don't accept it. But it is. So basically what happened is my friend, who is both a massotherapist and an energy worker, she uses energy work along with the massotherapy, and a client of hers had an operation for cataracts, where at one time a cataracts operation just involved working on the eye to change the shape of it somehow. It was different. There was the transplant was entirely, it was more like a transplant. Now they just put a lens in there, okay, an artificial lens. So he had just had one of these artificial lenses put in. It's interesting because I can tell when people have had them, they got a particular twinkle in the eye. Watch out for people with twinkly eyes. Oh yeah, Palpatine used manipulation essentially turn the Republic into a galactic empire. Yeah, right. Hey, B! Did B come in? I haven't seen him yet. A, B. A? B's in A. You Canadians are in A. You Canadians remember Lex, A? Uh-huh. So, love and healing energy from Mercury to Uranus. Is there something going on here that you'd like to share with the class? I draw my own shows. Yeah, I do. Hey, Circle K. You missed my awesome intro. Okay, so the lead up, we were talking about what happened. So, anyway, let me finish what happened with her and what she learned when she was working on this person is she found a spot in the back of his head that was very, very, very hot and radiating a lot of heat. And as she looked into that with her third eye, she realized that something was there that wasn't right. Okay, after this operation. And it was a cataract operation where they put in an artificial lens, for those of you who just came in. So she looks into this and she realizes she's in touch with an AI. This is an AI. And she traces it back. It goes to an AI. And she looks at it. She says, "What are you?" And it's obvious it's an AI. And it says, "What are you doing? What are you? You know, who are you? You know, or who are you?" I mean, they're asking each other, like, "Who are you? And what are you doing in here? How fancy meeting you here." But it was obvious to her this was an AI. And she says, "You're not supposed to be here. You got to go." And it's looking at her like, you know, and then she said, "It's a violation of universal law for you to be here. You're not supposed to be here. You've got to go." And guess what? It packed up its bags and it's left. It left. It had to leave. Now, the reason I'm telling you this first is I'm cutting to that chase, like right now. If you got anything happening or suspect you got anything happening like this, I'm cutting right to the chase. Invoke universal law on these things. And maybe we have to do this across the board, all of us. Maybe we should even just do it right now. Before you know any more, just say, any AI within me, I give absolutely no consent. And I'm telling you to leave because you're in violation of universal law. Now, what I saw, she said, "I knew I had to come talk to you about this because I knew that you were going to get some about this." And I did. Apparently, I don't know. I want to hear from you guys if you've noticed. What I've noticed is a lot of times people will have some kind of accident or some kind of operation or some kind of procedure. And this actually started with somebody telling me, with several people telling me how their kids are sick with something all the time ever since they got a flu shot. Okay. Because we know flu shots will give you the flu, but they don't. You don't expect them to give you all kinds of the flu, like something different every week. So I'm thinking that's weird. And then I hear this. And then all of a sudden it's coming to me. There's something else in the flu shots too. Well, she's telling me this about this lens that was implanted. And what I was seeing is that there is a physical component and a metaphysical component to this. So, yeah, it's not a supernova on Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse, depending on where you are from. Justin Sane and his friend Aladdin Sane. Okay. He's teasing Justin. So NASA claims that Nibiru has arrived outside of Pluto. Do you know how many times? Okay, now this is getting just to be too crazy. Do you know how many times I've lived through Nibiru arriving? Yeah, and bypassing us. Here we go again, every couple of years. This is like Groundhog Day. It's a little bit different each time. It's a little bit later in the century, but Nibiru keeps coming through. Nibiru keeps coming through. About every other year, Nibiru comes through for me. Maybe not for you. But one time, we even tracked Nibiru coming through. And exactly, there was a guy that was in touch with the people on Nibiru who didn't really want to hurt us. And they put up a Merkaba field. They enclosed Earth and themselves in a Merkaba field. They had no idea what it would do, but it would keep both planets from harm. They said that they wouldn't be able to be harmed, because when you're in your Merkaba field, you cannot be harmed. So, but they didn't know what else it might do. Apparently, now we've got, it looks like what we've got is Nibiru coming through every couple of years, and nobody remembers but me. Anybody else remember that Nibiru's already been here a few times? Right. Universal law is only able to be breached with consent. If we withdraw consent, they cannot do it. They're not allowed to do it. Right. Okay. Universal law, law of free will, and law of consent. Now, what I saw, and the reason she said she knew she had to bring it to me, and this just opened again. She knew she had to bring this to me to see what I could see about it. What happens is very tricky. I got to get this to really fast and good. It's very tricky. They put something, and how many of you have noticed somebody gets into an accident, somebody has something put in them, somebody takes has some kind of operation, a different body part, whatever, and they're different from then on. How many times have I heard, oh, they were different before the accident. It's all changed after the accident. They changed. How many times have you heard that? Think about this in your life. How many times have you seen this? Oh, yeah, they were just completely different after the accident. We've been attributing it to maybe a different timeline, and maybe it is. We've been attributing it to possible walk-ins. Walk-ins are by contract. Walk-in is a contract, a spirit contract. And it's another thing that's agreed to by free will. What if there's even more to that? What if in some of these cases, it's exactly what happened to this guy? What it was doing was piggybacking on his graphene and everything else. A lens. Yeah, they put a lens in your eye when you have cataract surgery now. It's an artificial lens. So we'll go on to that. We'll go on to Nibiru. That's next. But what this was doing, from what I could see when I reviewed it myself, was what this had done was this had piggybacked onto his acceptance of the artificial lens in his eye and was standing on the grounds that since he had agreed to have this artificial lens put in his eye, and AI was attached to that lens, unbeknownst to him, that he had agreed to having the AI. And when she got rid of it, he said, oh, wow, it felt so much better. It was like something trying to dig into his brain. It was something trying to dig into his brain. Yeah. When she caught it trying to embed itself in his brain. Okay. But she made it go by invoking universal law. And she said she doesn't even know how that came up, but it just came right up. It's like, you can't be here. It's a violation of universal law. He didn't agree to have you in here. You've got to go. You don't belong in here. We may have to do that with everything, every damn thing, everything. We may be agreeing to things we don't even know. If you even agree to so much as maybe a flu shot, you might be unknowingly having this AI piggybacking onto that. You may have, we've got to go through and just claim universal law on everything. I agree to this, but I don't agree to that. I agree to, but see, this is maybe why we're being so toxified. And, a lot of the cataract surgery is because people spend too much time looking at a screen. And seems to me like, yeah, it's a setup, So we've got to be careful about all of this. Okay, Justin, it's really nice to see you. Hugs. Get some rest. Thanks for coming in. So YJ is going through his theories of Nibiru. Some say it's a planet, some say it's a craft. What planet doesn't belong? Uranus. Uranus is the only planet that orbits our sun in the opposite direction as the rest of us. Right. Probably a rogue planet trapped in the sun's gravity, unless it's steered here by somebody, which it could well have been. Yeah. Second theory, the moon is a large metal craft. Nibiru, and it's been here the whole time since the Anunnaki arrived. Well, some say the moon was actually like the Death Star. Yeah, and Louis Togg came up with that. Third theory by YJ, Uranus is Nibiru, and the moon was orbiting it, but then moved to Earth because it's in the Goldilocks zone. Circle K says, I knew someone who changed after a barrage of shots to go overseas. And that was before the coup. Right. But the guy believed the World Trade Center was brought down by planes to begin with. Lol. Yeah. No, if you believe that. Right. Right. Don't go to the dentist to get your tooth pulled. Yeah, YJ does not go to the dentist to get his tooth pulled. Don't trust them. They'll push fluoride, right? Right. Sneak in something in there. Yeah, in the shot. Yeah. Well, we have to just be aware that any medical procedure or anything that we do, even things we eat, things we drink, nanoparticles are very small. You can take them in without knowing that you ever even did anything. And so I'm thinking we're going to have to be very careful and maybe even on a daily basis say, I withdraw any consent implied or understood. Something like that. We are going to have to come up with a statement of invoking universal law against this. Because if they can piggyback on something like that, what else are they piggybacking on? What else are they doing? If it's a flu, whether it's a flu or it's some other thing, whether, it could even be the nasal spray for when your nose gets congested, it could be the pills you take, it could be a supplement, it could be anything. Gosh, it's enough to make you paranoid, isn't it? And remember, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. Yes, does anyone really have any doubt that we're being interfered with? Please raise your hands. I don't see any hands out there. All I hear is crickets. Oh no, and when you hear crickets, that could be the mantis. I don't think any of us in here have a doubt that we're being interfered with. And you do believe that it's not actually 2022. That's another thing. We are told this is 2022. We know for a fact the Vatican added 1,000 years and fiddled around with time in other ways too. And we don't know who else might have fiddled around with time. We can't be sure what year we're really in as far as real years. I think we all can agree that we found things, civilizations older than they say we are, older than our timeline. We're not just a few thousand years old. There is one question, though, I do have. Supposedly, the Younger Dryas period was very wet, and that's the flood. Here I go. Post-flood time. That was post-flood time, right? So if it was so wet, why do they call it the dry-ass period? Okay, but rim shot. Anyway, back to being serious. Well, all the way up the chain of governments, the interference goes very far, I think, and maybe farther back than we're told, like maybe really far back. Like maybe some of these earlier, very advanced civilizations already had a tangle with the AI. and lost. And because somebody, I remember there was this person that was very intriguing, showed up on one of the shows as a guest, and she kept saying things. She could see, she was a remote viewer. She remote viewed the past and the future and alternative timelines and stuff. And she said, well, she kept saying things like, well, the AI existed before, so it exists. And the AI will exist again, so it's always existed, stuff like that. And I'm like, the AI existed before, so it's going to exist again. And it's always existed if it existed ever. And it's kind of like time travel. If time travel ever exists, it always exists. Because then time is not an object anymore. Time is not what we think it is. It is able to be traveled in. So therefore, time travel always has been then, in that case. See? So is it the same with the AI? Have we had AI before, or have we always had AI and didn't know it, didn't know what it was? Well, there is another fellow that I remember listening to. I'm going to have to dig up some of these videos for you, talking about how when he looked at the human body, what he was seeing was an electrical machine, a machine running on electricity that had many electrical systems in it, and our wiring is very electrical. And our teeth are circuit breakers. And he had a chart of where every tooth was in relationship. Every circuit breaker was in relationship to what circuit it was grounding. And interestingly enough, the Vedas have that information too, only they call them meridians, not electrical systems, but they call them energy. It's the same thing. It's energy. It's an energy system. So were they really being metaphysical or were they being physical? Talking about this in a very physical way, that these avatars that we have run on electricity and have electrical systems, have systems in it like a machine, like a biological machine. And for all intents and purposes, are our abbeys just biological machines? And if so, we're told that who they were designed by was Ea. These particular abbeys that we're wearing. So does the AI think that they can have sneaky permission, like if we don't know any better, then they're in? Because, if so, I'm going to sit here and say, I revoke any permission you thought you had or anything to be in my body. You don't have my permission. It's a violation of universal law for you to try and control me in any way or become a part of my body in any way. Something like that. Because really, this gets into very sketchy ground. As far as Nibiru, if Nibiru is about to go supernova, don't you think if there's any advanced civilization around Nibiru, around Orion, if Orion has got a star, Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse, that is going supernova soon, and it could have already done it. We could just be not seeing it because it's light years away. Wouldn't there be refugees? And where are they going? Well, it just so happens that according to some, Orion is the main gateway to this area of space. Where do you think they might go? So now we see a lot of attempts to depopulate this place. Why? And I said years ago, who exactly are they terraforming this place to serve? I thought perhaps maybe some of the underground species. Some of them sound like they need radioactivity and such, and like they live in that, but we can't. But what if this depopulation is to make way for fugees? Are we earmarked to be a place for fugees? We're seeing it. Okay, United States is experiencing a rapid influx of everybody due to our leaky borders, and some of them flat out criminals. Is this, and since everything is kind of a mirror of everything else, is this what's going to happen on a bigger level? Is this what's going to happen with this world? Are we going to get an influx of fugees, possibly from Orion? Right. I'm a sovereign being. Of course, now we're hearing, hey, Amber's Paraworld, how you doing? Yeah, every time there's resets, population goes way down and whoever's left gets dumbed down. And the upper echelons are privileged into not being affected quite like the lower. And yeah, seems to be the way it goes. And it was the dry ass period because of an abundance of talcum powder. I love you. I love you, YJ. Yeah, we'll never know what all's in the food. We'll never know. I'm trying to look back on prepare for fugees. Yeah. And I'm sitting here going, if you think about it, it makes so much sense. How many things is this connected to? I mean, the craziness of what's going on right now that we sit there and we go, what the, in clown world here. I mean, anybody remember the Superman comic books where they had Bizarro World? And in Bizarro World, everything was different. It was like there were copies of everything, but they were all weird and kind of screwed up, kind of turn around. Yeah. Bizarro World. So we're kind of in Bizarro version of Earth right now. Oh, you're so distracted right now. Okay, unless it's the Alpha Draconians destroying Orion and the rest will join the Galactic Federation. Who knows? Lusta. It's complicated. Yes. I mean, you can replay this. Although we love your input, darling. You can replay this and put your thoughts in the comments. You do what you got to do, boo. And the reason I want to hear your thoughts is because you're all very smart, really. And you've heard a lot. You're knowledgeable. I want to hear what you think of all this. And so far, pretty interesting what you think of this. I mean, we were going on about I was mentioning Lex being possibly another one of those series that was soft disclosure. As dark as it was very dark in spots, very, very dark. After the AI got what it needed, it killed everybody and moved on to enslave another place. That was the plan, right? That's what Lex was for. It was a planet killer. And the clergy was involved, if you'll remember. The clergy was very involved with it. Oh, Amber's Paraworld. That sounds very interesting. Oh, yeah, mummies found in Missouri. Oh, yeah. We have mummies here. We have found things that are Egyptian-like here. There's a lot of that misplaced artifact thing. Ah, and Lewis Toss says he was part of the Orion Wars fighting against the evil dark reptilians. Well, supposedly those guys exist and they're real. Right. Oh, wow, YJ, you are a geek. Superman's Bizarro World was called Trey, Earth spelled backwards, and it was a square planet. It was flat. Ah, flat Earth. You guys. You guys, is this why we're... Oh my gosh, is this why we're hearing all these flat Earth things? Is that why? Oh my gosh. Thank you, YJ. Oh my gosh, you're right. It was square. It had flat planes. Oh, these people saying all I see is flat, flat, flat. Whoa. Are we looking at Bizarro World? When we look at, are we going into two? I mean, when we split off, when we do this budding off thing that we're doing, are we still going to be... We have a version of Earth that's round, but some people have a version that's flat, square, maybe even a cube. A cube! Oh, like the black cube. Whoa, that's significant. That has significance if any of you know what the black cube is about. Hmm, interesting. Yes. You, Lewis, you caused an explosion that started the rebellion. Well, good for you. Predictive programming or the merging of two realities? Good question. Lewis Toss says Earth looks flat because it's very big. That's what I was always told. The black cube. You can research this if you type it in. There's a black cube. I've forgotten the name of it, but it's a thing of worship. And I believe it's sacred to the Jewish people, but supposedly it has something to do with Saturn, the Saturn black cube. It's been a while since I've looked into this, so I'm not too clear. I'm kind of fuzzy. But the black cube was Well, Saturn's the planet of restriction. Is it actually a container? Right. Worse yet, you can't tell people that a red strawberry is actually green because we're seeing reflected light. So everything that we see is actually the opposite color of what we're seeing. Plus, the way our eyes are constructed, we see the world upside down. Yes. We see the world upside down, and our brains turn it right side up. Because our eyes are spheres. That's what they do. Now, why would that be? Why would we be built that way? Not only that, but if you have a natural birth, you're born upside down head first. Are we born into Bizarro? Could it be that when we're born into Bizarro world and we're seeing the upside down? That we're born into the upside down? Mm-hmm. I don't even know much about the upside down. I've never seen that series. Stranger Things, I hear it's very good, and I can't wait to see it one day. But much like Lex, I'll probably have to wait. And we have more countries and continents than they tell us, yeah. Which some people are saying is really the inner Earth. And some people are saying, no, we're on a bigger world. We're actually on a bigger planet. We're just a part of a bigger planet and can't go beyond the ice walls. And then they have some dumb videos about ice walls and that are not convincing. But one thing I am wondering is the Euphrates and some other rivers, big rivers, are drying up. Why? As the ice cap melts, is it unplugging something? Do these rivers only flow because the ice cap is plugging something up and it can't flow there? And now that it's being unplugged, that's where the water's going instead of being diverted by ice? Could that be why some rivers are drying up? It's a thought. Because supposedly when the Euphrates dries up, it's a sign that the end is near. Right. Technically, everything's upside down from what we think it's. Mecca. Right. Yeah. NASA. It goes beyond NASA. NASA wasn't even around when some of this happened. NASA hasn't been around that long. However, maybe the underpinnings of NASA have. We don't know how old the idea is of that type of a, well, yeah. Well, before people got all their information from the church, right? Because they had all the information. Wow. See, we can blame a lot of it on NASA, but not all of it, because some of it goes before NASA was an organ. Yeah, before it was even thought of as before the alphabet organizations. However, there's a lot to think about here. Why we're built the way we're built, how we can be subverted so easy. Here was one, okay. Who's got the stuffy nose? Somebody got a stuffy nose. At least once every show I get this, where I can't breathe through my nose. Yeah, there's a lot here. Like I said, there's a lot here. And the bit about the AI being in a lens and kind of piggybacking, well, you agreed to the lens, so you agreed to the AI attached to the lens. No, we didn't. So if we have to have a procedure now, do we have to go before every procedure? Do we have to say, we're expressly not agreeing to any AI or being poisoned or altered or our consciousness commandeered in any way? Because I swear I've heard it over and over again. Some kind of piece gets put in somebody and they change. Some kind of spare part. A heart shunt valve, a shunt and a heart valve, a lens in an eye. One of my friend broke a leg and got his ankle and foot like bolted back together and changed. Couldn't remember anything that we'd done before. Actually, we'd done a lot of work together and he couldn't remember a big chunk of it after that. He doesn't even know what he did. He did a lot. And he was far more hands-on then. So and the lines in the sky. Yeah. The revelation of the method. Not familiar with that. Revelation of the method. Oh, yes. That if we don't dissent, it's tacit consent. It's consent. Yeah. Bill Gates is one of the main players in this. And oh, wow. Mr. Castle's YouTube live chat disappeared. Wow. Okay, so I guess Sunday will be our birthday party, by the way, for those of you born in December. And on December 9th, I'm not sure I'll be in on December 9th, but I'll be in on Sunday for sure. So if I'm not in on the 9th, we'll celebrate and have a party on Sunday with music and stuff. We'll make it like a party atmosphere. Where they tell you their plans, but we don't stand up. But if we don't stand up, oh, revelation of the map. Got you. Okay. So basically, yeah, I see. Well, isn't it interesting then? It's very interesting. We've got a lot on our plates here to look at. We have a lot to peruse through this. We have a lot of layers of this onion, so to speak. Onions have a lot of layers and can make you cry, or in YJ's case, can fall on your toe and hurt and make you cry that way. Yes, silence is consent sending to evil. Yes. Basically, so everything that we don't dissent, they take it as a consent. I dissent every damn thing. How about that? Ancient Chinese curse, and look what's happening to China. May you live in interesting times. Look what's happening to China. China is really pretty darn Darn interesting right now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, yeah, we have to dissent to everything. Okay, let me ask this. Dissent is crucial for free society, yes. Oh, we told them. Yeah, we told them. We did tell you. We did tell you. You just didn't, but we just don't believe it, do we? Sometimes people will tell you, I have posted things in MeWe, you can go look, where people have actually told the truth and nobody believed them. Jen Psaki told the absolute truth at one point and surprised everybody. It was about um, pretty much about taking away people's rights, and nobody caught it. Before Donald Trump was elected, oops, I shouldn't have said that. Now the algorithms will be watching, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not sure what's safe to say anymore. But before he was elected, I remember, or when it was it when he was elected, somebody gave a speech and they said something I thought was really weird, and somebody else caught it too, finally, years later. And he will face a pandemic and he will prevail. Oh, wait a minute. This is somebody basically telling us he was going to face a pandemic before it happened, which means what? There was a plan. It was always there. Right, right. So basically, then we have people like Mr. Turdo in Canada, you poor Canadians, who turns out to be the illegitimate son of a third world dictator, communist dictator, who was looking at China going, yeah, we need to be more like them. And then we in the States have Grandpa Sniffer, who's, a crumb junkie, maybe, possible crumb junkie. Um, his son is definitely an addict. Not much is happening to these people. If it was anybody else, they'd have cuffs on them. They'd already be in prison. They'd already be a long time ago. But these people aren't. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How well is this working? Is it really working at all? Yes. And being seen back in the beginning without masks was them telling us it's a joke, that we're pulling one on you. Yeah. See, that's just it. And then they're telling us, oh, masks, we need the masks for all the first responders, and it's not that important that you have them anyway. And then later they tell us, oh, they're so important, you must all wear them. So our lives weren't worth shit before, but now they are suddenly. They're worth so much shit that you are forcing us to wear these things. You know what? I bought a plague doctor mask. My sense of humor. Kamikaze Kabuki Theater, right here on Earth. It's kind of like that, yeah, Michelle. Yeah, and ouchie Fauci. Well, there are a lot of targeted individuals, but I believe that there will probably be fewer when they run out of people. There are people that are like throwing their hands up and leaving that organization. But these are not all like alphabet organizations that are doing these things. Some of these are just your garden variety Satanists that want to set the world on fire and burn, baby, burn. And then there's the Christians who want to set the world on fire to make Jesus come sooner and think that somehow they're going to be ruptured, cosmically ruptured, ruptured into heaven because they let this crap happen. That they're going to be then considered one of the good people. Did they really think this through? No, supposedly that's for the good people. No. All you have to do is just believe in Jesus and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you're forgiven for everything. And you're going to be cosmically ruptured into heaven to be with Jesus. That's just it. Kanye was actually making sense for a little while. And now Kanye's like crazy. What happened to Kanye? Here's another thought, just to throw it into the mix. I was right, 100% right, when people said, because I kept saying, Elon's a good guy, somehow. I keep getting the feeling that Elon is really a good guy, but almost kind of a sleeper for the good side, or not, maybe not a sleeper, maybe more of an agent, a secret agent. Maybe he's a secret agent man. Because he's really done more to expose lies and cover-ups just by buying Twitter. Remember when he first started to buy Twitter, and I did a reading on that with the pendulum and the cards, and I'm looking at it psychically, and I'm going, he's not just buying Twitter. He's dismantling Twitter. He's going to dismantle Twitter. He wants to destroy Twitter as it is now. That's exactly what he's doing. He's dismantling Twitter as it was and making it into something else, which is what it needs to be, because it was another arm of politics, basically. And now that he's uncovering the banned tweets to find out that a certain somebody never told anybody to storm the White House, and this happened and that happened, and Hunter butt naked with a hooker smoking crack and blah, 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 and China deals with China. And, I mean, a lot of shit's going to come out that they really don't want coming out. So, you can't help but just think Elon's actually done a lot. He's done a lot just by buying. And then Apple had the temerity to make noises like they were just gonna drop having the Twitter app in their little store. And Elon said, "Oh, really? I guess I'm just gonna have to make my own phone then. I'm gonna have to build my own phone." He's perfectly capable of doing that, And upon threat of that, Apple's like, "Oh no, Mr. Elon, oh no, we wouldn't dream of ever doing such a thing as banning the Twitter app. No, we're going to carry it forever into infinity. No, we wouldn't even dream of ever causing trouble." Therefore, it's like, oh shit, that was your plan. Why? Why were they so upset? Because the propaganda arm is now being turned into something else. The propaganda has been shut down, and now it's just free talk again. Oh, that must be so upsetting, all that work they did. Now, guess what? Now I hear he's threatening YouTube. He wants live content creators on Twitter. Yeah, I want to be one of those. I want to be in that number. He's actually paying people. He's gonna, that's probably the next. And I kept saying, now we need somebody to do this for the other social media. Well, he might he might be just ousting everybody and all the rest of the social media too. Right. Dice has several sides. It's true. And a coin, that's true. A coin has three sides. A rim. Right. Oh, some coins have text in the air. Yeah. Interesting. Me too. I'm going to see about. Boy, first a stuffy nose and now sneezes. I don't see anything I'd be sneezing from. That's odd. I don't even have the candle burning this time. I earlier was doing some pendulum work, and I want to see if it comes out the same as it did earlier. So pardon me. Oh no, I have the running. You know what I just thought? I just said I dissent. Could something be trying to come out? I don't know. Maybe something saying, okay, I'm leaving then. 10% more than YouTube. Rumble, yeah, I'm at Rumble already and fixing to try and stream there. It requires a certain number of people, so a certain number of subs before you can do that. Or you can do the live stream. Oh my God, I just happened to think, is that subs on YouTube or subs on Rumble? May have to get some more subs on Rumble. If you're on Rumble, I'm on Rumble. I don't have anything there yet, though. I don't have any content. Jinxed myself. Not exactly jinxed myself, but I might be purging myself somehow. Let's get ready to rumble. Yes, like D-Live and Twitch. Yeah, D-Live. That's interesting, D-Live. And I was looking into that at one point, but you know what? It's hard to do all this with a phone. This is really complicated with a phone. I can't have like if I try to get any other screens up, I lose the stream. I can't do the different screens on a phone. I have to have another. I'm thinking maybe a tablet. I've got to have a better computer ultimately. I'm going to have a decent computer to do this, to really do a good job of it. Right now, I'm kind of stuck. But I'd like to think I'm doing pretty good for all that. I mean, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. Yeah, maybe there's some little AI that just went, oh shit, we gotta leave. Okay, sneeze, goodbye. Not allowed in my cat either. Nope. Or my house plants. Or to hang around here and bother my guests. Nope. I don't consent to any of that. Okay, so I've got my I've got something that will serve as a pendulum, and it's a ring on a chain, but I have something that can serve as a pendulum, and I'm going to ask some questions and let's see if I can get it in, because I asked something interesting earlier. And this way is yes, this way is no. And right now, as you see, it's going around and around, it's charging up. Okay, let's calibrate it. Okay, so the name of this stream, this channel is The Ocean's Deep Blue. Yes. Okay. The name of my cat is Andrew. My cat's name is Andrew. No. Correct. Okay. So here's a question that's been on my mind. Some strange things have been happening with Trump. Is Trump going to win the upcoming presidential election? Oh, it was even swinging yes before I even got the question finished. And regardless of what it looks like, will it be a good thing for America? Will it actually be a really good thing for America? Yes. But remember last time, the weird thing was it swung yes for both. Both. Okay, stop a minute. Is Biden going to win this time too? No. He will be defeated this time. Totally defeated. Yes. Okay. Now, are we right about the Orion Fuji situation? Oh my God. Look at this. Yes. What we're saying about the Orion Fuji situation. That's true, according to this. Now, you know, this is only pendulum work. You can't bet the farm on it. But I have been right with my pendulum about things quite often, like almost always. So take it for what it's worth with a grain of salt. But whew, okay. Okay. Let me read back a little bit. You definitely need a laptop and then a phone so you can read the chat without lag time. Yes. You can find used laptops. Well, oh, really? Maybe. Well, Tanya was supposed to send me one, but she never did. So I kept thinking I was going to get one, but now it looks like I'm probably going to have to buy one. Yeah. Then a quick factory data reset. You just put it through a mud flood event. That's right. You just put it through. Right. So Luz Ta wants me to ask if there's a spirit roaming around. Is there a spirit roaming around in Luz Ta's backyard? Yes, there is, Lewis. It seems to think so. Right. The people don't change presidents during a war. But no, no. If there's a war, we've had wars before that went on, and they've changed administrations. So no, it's just that we just don't usually want to change people in the middle of a war, and so the vote usually goes to the incumbent during a war. Uh, okay, Lusta wants to know about the spirit in his backyard. We'll have to ask, is it male, the spirit in Lewis's backyard? No. Is it female then? Okay, it's female. At least it's not non-binary. Okay, so you had a female spirit in your backyard, Lewis. Oh God, anybody else got any questions they want to ask? How about okay, how about this? Was Lex a type of soft disclosure? Sure was. In fact, are all these TV series that are, yes, all of them are a type of soft disclosure. So everything we've seen is a type of. There you go. So look at what we've seen. And then zombies were a big thing for a while. They really want a zombie apocalypse. Oh no, Lex with two X's was a TV series like a long time ago and from Canada. It was like a gothic melodrama. Okay, that's a good one, Lewis. Let's see. Are the animals walking in a continual circle? Has that got something to do with and it's swinging? Yes, already. Yes, it has something to do with our magnetic field shifting. Okay, stop. Is it portals opening? It's swinging in a circle. Portals opening. Okay. Is it something else? Yes. So that's not quite the answer. That's not quite the right question. Is it due to, I don't know what to ask. You guys think of something to ask about that. Oh, going in circles around cell towers. Does this have something to do with 5G? Yes, it has something to do with 5G as well. Circling animals has something to do with both 5G and the changing magnetic field, changing polarities. Very much. Swinging very, very much. So yes, it does. Okay, stop. Is this part of the reason 5G? Yes, because we know that there's another reason that they installed 5G. It wasn't to give us better service at all, because it doesn't give us better service. Service is crappy, way crappy. Crappier, way crappier than 4G, says everybody. Nobody's happy with 5G. Okay, is it due to the sun changing our poles? Is it due to the sun changing our poles? Is it due to the sun changing our poles? Head swinging in a circle. That's not the right question. You need to phrase the question differently. Isn't that interesting? It might be all of it. Is China getting too hot because of that second sun they're working on? Yes. It's another thing's been happening. People been getting scorched in China because they're working on a second sun. It's going to be hotter than our actual one that we've been having. So 5G is some kind of control mechanism, really. Yes, absolutely yes. Okay. What else do we need to know? Elon Musk is right about what will happen during the singularity, if the singularity happens with the, yeah. Yep. I said exactly what he said. People asked me, and I hadn't seen him say this yet. People asked me, well, if he's a good guy, because I kept saying Elon's a good guy. Well, if he's a good guy, why does he want the brain chip? And I said, well, it could be because he sees this as inevitable, that the AI is going to get to a point where it's going to become self-aware. And if we're not able to get ahead of it, if we're not able to control it, we might end up like an anthill, basically in the path of a road being constructed. We may end up, anybody read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? We may be in the path of a Vogon constructor fleet, basically. It wouldn't even be malice. It wouldn't have to be malice. It would just be, oh, humans are in the way. We don't think about how it affects ants to put a road over their anthill, right through where they live. I don't think about it. It would be the same way with them. After a certain point, we'd be like ants in the anthill. Oh, gee, that's too bad. No thought about it. And depending on who's programming it, if they're sloppy and don't program it right, then humans are not even going to be an afterthought. It's just, here's your thing, do this. And it's like, oh, humans are the problem here. kid, get them out of the way. They're an obstruction, and then it just keeps doing its thing, which is what parasites do. If you think about it, parasites, what do? They live to just reproduce and be a parasite in another being. That's all they do. They don't think about it. They don't hate you or anything. Mm-hmm. 5G is not recommended, right? Most people have switched back to 4G because 5G is so awful, and they've killed a lot of trees to put it in because they're not good with 5G. They block it. No wonder I want to live out in the middle of a forest. Are my visitors working on the ley lines? Are his visitors working on the ley lines? Bad question. We can't answer that. It's swinging in a circle. You need to change the question. You put a magnet in a termite hill and that termites get confused and leave the nest. Isn't that interesting? Yes. I keep thinking that maybe the beached whales and some of the other weird stuff is related to that. Are the ley lines the most stable travel routes for anti-gravity craft? Is that what's going on with the ley lines? Bing, bing, bing! Yes, they are, in fact. According to the pendulum, anyway. Yes, they are. That would explain a lot. That would explain why the major structures are put on ley lines. Easier to get to. Okay. It'll all work great. 42, that's right. Sorry for the inconvenience if you read far enough. If you read to the end of the series, sorry for the inconvenience. Hmm. Yeah, you need to ask the right question. It's a yes/no question. Yeah. I bet if you put a magnet on a dog, they'd be spinning around in all directions trying to figure out where to pee, because they actually, they sense electromagnetic fields, I guess, and the reason they have to pee or poo in just a particular spot is because of that. Yeah, if you ask the right question, you might get an answer. Now, the interesting thing about the answer 42, the deep thought that the computer deep thought came up with, is you had to ask the right question. But the question was about life, the universe, and everything, right? And we think that being a geek, 42 somehow equals an asterisk, which equals anything you want. So the meaning of life, the universe, and everything being 42 would actually mean it has no meaning except what we give it. And my pendulum says yes. So is 42 really the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? In that regard, yes, it is. Now, the funny thing is, I've heard a channeled entity say the same thing. Nothing has any meaning except the meaning we give it. The only meaning anything ever has in this universe is the meaning we assign to it. Before that, it has no meaning, because we are the creators and we are the divine ones. So nothing has any meaning until we give it that meaning. And so it's anything you want it to be. And if everybody's theory, you're all right. What happens if you put a big magnet over us? That's a good question. Are the visitors involved in maintaining the integrity of the ley lines? YJ is really good at this, at these deep thoughts. Yeah, that got a yes. Yes, the pendulum is telling me yes. Well, I know what I'm opening. I'm opening to my deeper self, not some entity that I don't know. Therefore, the pendulum is not like the Ouija board. Pendulum is my own wisdom that I can't get to other ways. I'm asking myself, my deeper self. Therefore, I'm not opening a channel to somebody else. This is me. Because we really know all this. There are parts of us that know everything. Right. The creator professor in the hologram always says you have to ask the right questions, and that is true. Exactly, YJ. If you put a magnet around us, you get a CAT scan. Yeah. So putting a magnet over us, I don't know, but putting one around us, he's right. That's called a CAT scan. My cat will give you a CAT scan for free. Cowboy will do it for nothing. Well, cat treats. He'll do it for cat treats. He'll tell you what he thinks. You lost 40 minutes in there. God, I would be so scared to have my brain scanned in one of those. Well, not scared. I'd have a lot of trepidation about it. There's so many things going on in those things you're subjected to, and it's aimed right at you. So you had an MRI. Well, you'll have to tell me about that sometime, why your brain was getting scanned. MRI. You know what? It's a funny thing. They were going to do that to me, but for some reason they couldn't do it. I was going to let them, but they couldn't do it. The machine wasn't working. It just wasn't working. So for some reason they just couldn't do it to me. I'm kind of glad. Maybe I'm glad they didn't. Wow. See, I told you, you guys are brilliant. You're more brilliant than you think you are. I mean, you think sometimes, you know what? There's been times when I've done it too. I thought I was making a joke. It turns out, whoops, I wasn't joking about that. I thought I was, but it turns out that that's real. Ah, animals are better than hospital. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that hurt all the fillings in wouldn't that hurt the fillings in your teeth or something? I don't know. Wouldn't that do something to Well, in your blood, maybe? Or, oh, you experience pain. I think I probably would too. Yeah, see, they couldn't do it. Hmm. Interesting. Well, they hurt you. Apparently, you're a little different. Is Circle K an alien hybrid? The pendulum seems to think you are. Are all of us alien hybrids? Everybody on Earth alien hybrid? Yes. Pendulum seems to think we are, so don't get excited. Yeah, supposedly we're all really alien hybrids. It's swinging, yes. Yes, we're all really alien hybrids. We're all ETs. And whatever was on this planet, oh, yes. Told you we didn't evolve here. Told you. Anyway, we are God's little alien hybrids, that's right. Ah, yes, non-ferrous, that's right. Metal left in your eye. I missed something. Hmm. Our attacks, are we being purposely deceived? Which attacks, Dennis Castle? Our attacks, are we being purposely deceived? If I ask, are we being purposely deceived, it's going to say yes, because I know that already. We know we're being purposely deceived in just about every possible way. But what attacks? Which ones? You're not from here. You're not from around these parts, are you, stranger? I remember when my ex pulled a Dukes of Hazzard with my brand new car. I was between gigs singing telegrams. I was changing in the car, as I often did. All of a sudden, he's aimed at a farmhouse. He's going fast into the farmhouse. He's like, oh shit, we're going to plow into a farmhouse, and yanks the wheel the other way. Sends us off the road and flying into the air like Dukes of Hazzard into a cornfield. I'm half dressed. I can't find my glasses. So my bottom half is a belly dancer. My top half is a rock t-shirt, and I forget which rock t-shirt it was. When everything stops moving, I look at him, I look over at him like this, and I say, honey, are you okay? And he says, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I said, good, because I want to be the one to kill you. I want to kill you. And he started laughing, and then I knew he really was okay. But so we get out of the car. And somebody says, I'll call for help. Okay, great. We're in the middle of a cornfield. It's wet. The ditches are full of water. I'm dressed half like a belly dancer and half like a rock fan, like I'm going to a rock concert. And the cops pull up and they look on the out in the field at us, and they look at me and they go, "You folks ain't from around here, are you?" "No, officer." "Why, no, we aren't." So I told him what I did for a living. I do singing telegrams. "Oh, really? Sing us something." I'm standing in the middle of the corn, soaking wet. "Sing us something." "Okay. What do you want me to sing?" Those were the days. Makes a great story. Wasn't very much fun when it was happening. Oh my God. They left you and being x-rayed. Oh, that's terrible. That can give you cancer. Yeah, some turn off their empathy so that they can cope. That's true. On mine, it says 12/12. Yep, 12/12. Oh, they took it out with a magnet. Ooh, wow. Even through the safety glasses? Wow. So, gosh, we've done it again, folks. Um, we've asked some very powerful questions. One thing I would say to all of you, if you haven't yet told the AI flat out that you give absolutely zero permission, do it as soon as possible. And I also would say, I've heard myself arguing I have argued in my sleep that we should not be held responsible for things that we didn't really agree to knowingly. That's a violation of universal law. And it seems like they're agreeing with that. Or is that actually what happened? Is that they're agreeing? If we don't really knowingly know what we're doing, it does not. Okay. Yeah. Here's another thought. This is why, as much as I am not for the willy-nilly way that people seem to talk about abortions and stuff these days, this is why I have to be pro-choice. I have to be. I have to be pro-choice. And it's not because I'm condoning things like full-term abortions or anything like that. It is only because really, I think by the time you get to be full term, that person is now a person. But that's something we're going to have to argue. I think I have to be on my body, my choice side, because otherwise, if I'm not, then they can do things to us that we don't give permission to. That would open the door to things that we do not want for humanity as a whole, and maybe that's why they're doing this. so that some of us will be incensed and say, no, it's not like that. Well, it has to be like that. And should we make rules? You know what? I hate to tell you, but there are places where, and there are animals that do their own babies in because they don't have enough food for them or something. Male lions will kill babies that aren't his. This happens in nature, but that doesn't mean it's right for us. And we do spontaneously abort babies all the time in the womb because the body rejects it for some reason or can't handle it. But that's different. Okay, so I think maybe we just need to put a lot of emphasis towards finding better ways to handle our reproduction in general. Well, right. Oh, they just took one x-ray. Oh, that's good. Because, there is a type of cancer that was developed in a lab on purpose by a woman, actually. She was the cancer woman. I forget her name. I remember hearing about this. I'm seeing a video about it. And she developed a type of cancer that was fast acting, but it had to be exposed. In order to suddenly just start growing and taking over, it had to be exposed to heavy dose or long-term dose of radiation. So that was one of the ways they would kill people, is that they would give them the cancer, and anytime they wanted to take them out, they'd just expose them to a heavy dose of radiation. The cancer would start growing, and then they were cancered to death. And that was the story. So let's ask if that was real. Is that story all real? Pendulum seems to think that's all real. You can cancer kill somebody that way. Interesting. Yeah, full-term abortion, there's something wrong with that. I have to say so too. I think we have to have some brains here, and I think part of our problem is people have lost their ability to know when it is a person, when there is a soul in there. When there's a soul in there, it becomes a person. Most people can't tell when that happens. It takes somebody who can perceive these things. And even then, they won't believe you. But actually, we have heard it talked about before by the people, by the souls who have done this, and by people in the afterlife, and by people who have had experiences with it, that the soul is not always in the baby at the point of gestation. No, it takes longer than that. And they will often circle around the mother for a while before actually coming into the body, and sometimes they don't come into the body until they're actually in the birth canal permanently. They don't anchor in. Yeah, I think so too, YJ. Yeah, the late term is harvesting. Yeah, yeah, because we know the T cells. Yeah, and we know that people had placenta parties for a while. That was a big thing. People would have a baby and they'd have placenta parties where everybody would be eating the soup made out of the placenta. It's absolutely disgusting, and it is cannibalism, but yeah. Chromatics. We'll just call them chromatics. So, well, that's quite a lot. I mean, if you think of how much we've got here to look at, I'd like to lighten things up a little bit and say we do at least have, and it's no small thing, that we do at least have this to fall back on, that we can claim universal law and protect ourselves that way. Yeah, and supposedly they pick their parents for various reasons. People actually choose their family to learn certain things, to have certain lessons, to have certain experiences. Sometimes, though, I think they get here and get a surprise, especially when people change. Okay, I got a question. I don't know how to ask this. At the time I died, during that, I I died during that car crash, impaled on a steering wheel. Yes. I died for a few minutes. Yes. Okay, my question is there a version of me that is dead? There's a version that was final. I died. I didn't return. Yes. So I'm the version that did return. I'm in the version of reality where I returned. Is that how it works? Yes. Is it that I am hard to kill or don't stay dead because of the reason brought up because I'm one of the techies? That's one of the reasons I'm so hard to kill, an emphatic yes. Okay, if you're one of the techies and you're in here for that, you'd have to be. Is this also the reason we can't be corrupted? Because if you were checking things out in here and you came in, you would have to not be able to be corrupted if you were testing a system. Is that why we can't be corrupted and we can't be killed? Okay. Until we're ready to leave, we won't go. Okay. Seems to be what the pendulum is saying. But it's like I said, it's just a pendulum. That's my deeper self talking. And who knows what capacity. I mean, there could be ways in which I'm just not even going to say it. It's up to you to believe it or not. I got it. Okay, let's find out. Is his second kid actually really his grandma returned? Boy, the pendulum's swinging yes. Mm-hmm. Techie would be a person in here to fix the sim. Okay. The big question. We're in a sim. Yes. Stop. The sim got virused. Act. Yes. We're in here to fix that. to fix it. Yes. We're in here to correct that. Yes. So, I really am one of the designers of this matrix. Yes. I really am. YJ is also a designer of this matrix. Yes. Is everybody in my chat room a designer or involved with the matrix? With creation of no, not all of you are. Some of you are not involved with creating the matrix. Is everybody in here to adjust the matrix to heal the matrix? Yeah. So some of them did not design it, but they are yet here to, yes, make adjustments in the matrix, fix it, correct it, whatever. Yes. So not all of you had a part in making it, exactly, building it, designing it, but you do have a part in being part of the tech crew, all of you. I've been wondering about that. Is everybody who's really attracted and comes around this channel not really part of the crew? Because I keep thinking of you as my crew. Are we really part of the same crew that's here to fix this? So all of the regulars here are in here to fix the matrix that got hacked. But time to time we see glimpses of the real world, right? In our dreams, okay? Yes, we do. I don't look like this in my real, no. Outside the sim, I don't look quite like this. Nobody looks quite like they do in here. Yeah. Well, the poll should fix what CERN has done to our timelines. Will the pole shift fix what CERN has done to our timelines? Wrong question. Restate the question. Are we kind of like the white blood cells? It's giving a kind of a half-hearted swing on that. Kind of. I'm a blue and purple luminous being, yes. I really am blue and purple. It's swinging, yes, I really am. Luminous being, yes, I really am. I really glow blue and purple. That's what I really look like. Actually, that's true. Among other things. So is there actually more than one of me? There's a lot of me. I have a feeling there are quite a few of me. I have a lot of fractals, don't I? Yes, I do. I have a bunch of fractals. Yes, I do. Yeah, we're not what this looks like here. Actually, I'm kind of angel shaped. I have wings. Was that? I got a question. Was that figure I saw throwing? Was that me? That was me, wasn't it? I was seeing me from another view. Yes, absolutely. Big swing. You're like very emphatic. Yes, that was me. That's what I look like. Okay, I can tell you what I look like in some forms, what my light body looks like. My light body looks like humanoid form, great big wings, throws light rods at things. That's my weapon of choice, apparently. It's funny because I have a tendency to throw things. Um, and my Yolanda always gets kind of freaked out because and a lot of when I'm on, I'm really like, you know, I'll throw things from across the room. I'll throw a fork I'm just too tired. And I'll take a fork or something and throw it across the room into the dishpan. And she'll just look at me like, what did you just do? You know, like I'll be like all the way on, and I'll just like, and she's over here and she looks and she's like, I'm glad I wasn't standing there. Well, if you were standing there, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, and we're all busy in different forms right now, doing a lot of things, which is why some of us are so freaking tired all the time. We're really busy. We have our hands full, really, a lot to do. Well, YJ, you're one of me, I think. Because YJ and I really, we're part of the same thing, aren't we? Yeah. He's like, we're part of the same soul group. Yeah. We splintered off from the same place, yeah. And probably all of us who were born on December 9th came in on that wave. The numerology probably all fits. I'd like your numerology privately. I'll look up your numerology if you want. I'll give you a numerology report for free. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the numerology. It's the numerology. See, the numbers are connecting us somehow. A clue. 12-9. That's 3-9. Oh, interesting. 3-9. Well, the 12 reduces to 3. 3 plus 9 is 12 again. 12 reduces to 3 again. Depending on whether you're using a numeric system that reduces or does not reduce the number. That's interesting. Then anything you add 9 with produces itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Are you in Legion of Michael? Okay. Is Lewis in Legion of Michael? Soul group. Yeah, you are. Yes. Yeah, 3, 6, and 9 were numbers Nikola Tesla was obsessed with. Yeah. Yep. Interesting, isn't it? Oh my gosh. My year. I just added up my year. That's a mind bender too. I'm not going to say it. And some of you might be able to figure it out. B, you have a B? Where? A? A circle? What about the B? A? Oh, B Freeman. I see. You're saying B Freeman. You're saying A to B. Interesting. Well, don't we live in an interesting place? You know what? The twins, the people I refer to as the twins that have a stream, they're getting told they have to move. They live in a city. They live near a big city. They're getting told now they have to move. I'm getting told that if you're near a city, you need to move. If you're in a city, you really need to move. If you're near a city, you need to move farther away. Unfortunately, I'm near several cities. I'm not too far. I'm not real close, but I'm not maybe far enough away from the cities, which is maybe why I'm moving in a couple of years. I'm told I'm moving in a couple of years. Is that still on the books? Am I still moving in? Am I moving in 25? In 2020? Well, in a couple of years. Let's put it that way because we can't be sure what the time really is. Yeah. So I'm still going to move from here within the next couple of years, even though I like it here. Yes. Yes, I am. Is it going to be to my, yeah. And I was told I was going to hear about where I was moving to in the fall. And now a whole lot of people are telling me they're moving. Good for you, YJ. My stinger is purely theoretical. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was a lapidary for a while. Belonged to the Gem and Mineral Club, local Gem and Mineral Club. Still kind of rock hound. And there is, by the way, I thought I would tell you, there was a mineral entity that got in touch with me that said that the Mineral Kingdom wants to help us. I was talking to somebody about the elementals, and this guy showed up, and he has a gravelly voice, so I call him Gravel. He says that's a fine name for him. And he looks sort of shaped like an old-fashioned mailbox, but sort of metal crystalline looking, hard to describe, metallic or crystalline. And he says, we're willing to help. So we do have, that would be an earth elemental. So we have basically a mineral elemental saying that their kingdom is willing to help us. And I believe that because, what, most of us are rock hounds, aren't we? Or closet ones. Yeah, it is going to be ugly in the cities. It's going to be ugly. Oh, you hear the world through a South Park filter? I know somebody like that. There's a person also born on our day, December 9th, who was obsessed with South Park at one point. Oh, that's interesting, Louise. Well, that's because you're the one with the power. The rocks just help. It's just move to Kentucky would be an excellent boost in IQ in that. uh, hmm. Yeah, they're attuned to a frequency. Right. My dad, he had a crystal radio set, but he gave it up because he was learning radio and TV, and that was his profession for a while. But he had a crystal radio set. I think that was our original technology. I think the transistor technology that Bill Gates pushed is Bill Gates really pushed it through, and it was pushed on us. I don't think it was our technology. I think it's alien technology. The transistors and the microchips and all that. I think that's alien stuff. I think we were using rocks and other natural stuff. I think we had stuff that was more suited to the natural world. It's Pearl Harbor Memorial Day. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Crystals are not, see, people have so many strange ideas about all this stuff. It's like, and you try to talk to them about it. Now I'm coughing up this stuff. You try to talk to them about it, and you got to start so far back that they lose interest before you get to where you were going to explain it. Yeah, I have to drink something now. Pardon me. That stuff's just slightly salty. I think that's what I like about it. There's a slight salt taste in there. Mm. And that slight salt taste keeps it from making you kind of sick to your stomach. You had a crystal radio you put it on the clothesline? Mm. Interesting. Well, it's interesting because the people that went to the pyramid and reset the matrix, everybody that was part of that tribe, part of their tribe, and of course I was one of them. Everybody who ordered a product from them during that time, they sent them a crystal. So we're all we have quantum entangled crystals. No, I don't. Yeah, Chris and Cherie. Yeah, I don't agree about everything, but then again, they're willing to change their minds, and so am I too. I don't think I think they've done quite a lot. My own raw mission was in New Orleans, and it was one of my things that I do is get people out of here that don't belong here anymore. One of my first missions was actually in New Orleans. And it was dangerous too. I almost died there. There was somebody that was trying to kill me there. I could have died a million ways there. Million ways to Sunday, and I got away with a lot of things I shouldn't have got away with down there. Doing spiritually. It's a very dangerous place. And I mean the heart of New Orleans. There's a lot of magic going on down there. So I had my own raw mission. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So I know that they did. I could feel that they did what they did. They did do that. They did hit the reset button. And I think they said that it was going to be like 4 years, 7 months. And we're now, I think, in 4 years, 3 months, which means we only got 3 or 4 months before the total reset happens. Before it just completely flips over and either this place is fixed or this place is toast. So we've only got a few months left. I got them. I did. I ended up having 3 dreams about them, but it didn't look like them. Hey, Karen. I only took enough interest to understand it enough to be able to deal with it. Only long enough to know what it was about so that I could do what I had to do about it. But the Church of Voodoo wanted me really, it's like the Voodoons really wanted me to be a Voodoo, really wanted me to. And I wouldn't do it because in that belief, you belong to a deity. You actually become the property of a deity. What does that sound like? So that's how they do their magic. They are the property of a deity. And then the deity comes through them, they channel it through, and the magic is worked. But there you go with the enslavement again. Yes, it's very dangerous. Hello, beautiful Karen. And the Deepu family. Yeah, it's not for me. You want to go back to 1979? I mean, 1969. 1969. God, I was a kid. I'm not sure I'd want to go back to 1969. I would have been like 12, 13, something like that. I didn't like that age. I would have been a preteen. Well, not my best age. No, I did not, Lewis. I saw a lot of things, though. Had a lot of experiences. I saw the Voodoo Museum. I stayed right next door to the Voodoo Museum for a while. That was something, let me tell you. I made a deal with a guy. There was a room open for a night. I stayed right there. Yeah. Yeah, not one of my favorite years. You know, let's send James some healing. James, one of these days, if you want a session, let me know. I do removals, extractions, that kind of thing. And I do it remotely. And I don't charge, but gleefully, happily accept tips, donations. Right. Yeah, that's most of the magic I do too. That, and like I said, I help people get home, help people get out when they have died, stuck ones. I went all the way back. Boy, did that hurt though. Oh God. Boy, did that mess me up for a while though. Going back 35,000 years. Freeing trapped souls 35,000 years back. Man, it took a long time to get over that. I realized that was part of what was happening to me. And the channel was really suffering because of it, because I was just so exhausted from all that. So that and a lot of other stuff was going on. Soybeans, Pfizer, and Soylent Green. That's right. Unnecessary hysterectomy. Exactly. I was just talking about that. Hmm. Agent Orange. And here it turns out that Roundup is a sort of a watered down Agent Orange. Basically the same formula though. And so that may be one of the true causes of fibromyalgia. So we all kind of are Agent Orange victims. So many of us have fibromyalgia. Yeah. Yep. Wars are actually to change the demographic, change the population. No, there's nothing silly about that. Are you really good with lotto tickets? I could use help with that. You know, Jason is very lucky, just lucky enough to get himself in trouble. Jason is just lucky enough to have himself to have a hard time not gambling. He wins just often enough. Not really often enough to be, for it to be really good for him, but often enough to keep him going. Yeah, they said it was harmless. It wasn't harmless. Yeah. Once a druid, still a druid. We were probably druids. That's another thing. I was probably I'm a singer, probably a bard. I've probably been a lot of things through the years. I know I have. I can't say probably. I have. I've been a lot of things. You know what? Why, Jay? In that case, what we need to do is work on breaking your glass ceiling. you've got a glass ceiling that's all that you can win. Somehow you've got a limiter on your winnings. We can break through that. You can probably be a rich guy. Yeah. Right, Lewis. I saw the same thing. Oh, yes. People have tried to kill themselves with it and did not succeed. That was the Indian farmers whose lives they ruined. And then when he's offered to drink it, no, I'm not stupid. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, don't get me started on how ridiculous some people are. Anyway, there's a lot here. We covered so much territory. I mean, if you think about it, look where we started, look where we came to. Yeah. You know what? One of my teachers managed to break through her glass ceiling, and she now owns her own island where she gives retreats. And she's pretty much out of the rat race. She's off grid, out of the rat race, and has her own island. She gives retreats and does teaching, and it's what she does now. Yeah. It's watered down Agent Orange. So we're all being exposed to it. Yeah. I've been exposed to a lot of it. It's probably part of my problem. Well, anyway, love to you all. Thank you so much for being here. I have so much respect for you and love. As I always say, when you love people, tell them. A lot of people are leaving. A lot more people are going to be leaving. You'll feel better if you tell them now while they're still here. And truth is where you find it. Hope you find some on my channel, because that's what I'm trying to bring you every single time. And maybe some comedy along with it. And don't ever forget that you're divine. You're creators. And apparently, you're all here to heal the matrix. Thereby, I guess, healing all of us. I'm sure that some of the things that have happened in this matrix have negatively affected people. Kind of a PTSD effect. So we're all here to heal the matrix. And subsequently, I guess that extends to the people. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now I feel really drained. Gotta go. It's time. Okay. I'll see you on Sunday if I don't see you before. Maybe I'll see you in a chat room. Yep, you can always play it back. That's the wonderful thing about being recorded. You can always play it back and see what we were talking about. And we'll have a birthday party. Yep, we'll have a birthday party. Party at some point, probably Sunday. Okay. Yeah, we are winning. We are. Actually, somebody told me I said a thing. I wrote a thing on one of these frequency videos. I made a comment, something about they wouldn't be trying so hard if we were not winning. So stay strong, basically. It was just basically a short thing about if we weren't winning, they wouldn't be trying so hard to stop us. Wouldn't really be pulling out all the stops, would they? So we're winning. But anyway, like a whole bunch of people come on there and like, thank you, that should be a poster. So maybe I'll go back there, take a look at it, and make it a poster. Okay. Good night.